Excellent.
Hello, Marie. So, I don't know what your schedule is like. We'll wait for a couple of seconds and talk about moving forward. Um, so, we have. I am just going. Our two speakers from this morning are are both from the Mediterranean, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning there. And so we recorded the call this morning, and that's what we'll be playing. Um, I if you'd like, I'll just give you a link, and then you can listen to it, or I can play it, and you can put any questions you have in the chat. And I will leave that up to the people on the call. We're very happy you're here. But like I said, we'll wait a second and see who gets here and who else comes in the next minute or so, and we'll make a decision as a group.
Very good. Great. Yes.
Oh, here's Dina.
Hi, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining.
Hello, Dina. How are you?
Oh, technology is really not collaborating with me right now. Apologies about that. I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us today. Give me just 1 second. I want to check something. Oh, no.
I think I've got it all queued up, Dina.
You did?
I do, yeah. Hang on.
It does work on your end?
It was working. Let me see if I can get it to play.
Fascinating.
Hang on, wrong thing.
I'm also wondering if I could just get it going. Sorry, everybody, let me fill you in. So our focus for today's call is on remote learning and hybrid learning and transitioning from remote to hybrid, and what schools are looking for and thinking about in order to maintain safety and social distancing, but at the same time keep the learning going and keep the social interaction going, which is really crucial to the learning process. So we asked Showcase Schools and all of you to share with us, your plans for next year. And the two school leaders raised their hands and said, I'd love to share with the rest of the school, Showcase School community, what we're up to for next year and what we've been thinking about. So the two schools that raised their hands, unfortunately, are in Cyprus and Greece. And they shared with us this morning their story. So the fortunate part is their presentations were great. The unfortunate part is they are probably fast asleep right now in the middle of their night, about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. So we recorded the session and we want to play it back for you right now. The two school leaders presented, and then I followed with a short presentation on some scenarios, a compilation of scenarios the schools are considering for reopening, and what each scenario means, and then some resources that are really important for us to consider right now, or as we think about remote and hybrid learning, who has Microsoft created that could help you with some of that thinking. And I just had some program updates I wanted to share with you at the end. So this is pretty much the agenda for the call. And we were thinking if we could actually play it back to you right now. We're still going to take questions in the chat window. If it's something we can answer, we'll answer it. If it's something that requires one of the two school leaders to answer, we're just going to ask them to jump in and answer your questions. So with that, let's see if the recording is ready. Carolyn.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I'm getting there.
Okay. I mean, it does look like
Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry.
what?
Well, I was.
There's another.
Hang on, maybe one more chance.
Yeah.
Public schools play. What am I doing wrong? Anyway, include audio. Include. Okay. And then what? Let me try one more time. I apologize.
No, no problem. Thank you.
Hey.
Wow.
My colleagues were a lot further behind in their development of their new technologies. They were online within 2 or 3 weeks as well. So we've had all children from early years 1, which is 2 and 3, all the way up to year 13, online every day. Now for the younger ones, of course, due to
You got it, Carolyn. Carolyn?
Hang on. I don't know why it's not playing on my screen.
Everybody, thank you so much for your patience. We're working through this. Wait just another minute.
Okay, I've got it up on screen 1, but it won't show on screen 1, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Can it be on all screens to cover all bases?
Yeah. Well, I've got Teams, I've got screen 2, I've got screen 1, and screen 1 just shows my desktop. And so I'm so sorry. I do not know what I've done.
Can you just share desktop and somewhere it's gonna work?
Well, this is my desktop. And, you know,
Let's play it.
well, do you see it?
See what I see everything you're doing. But is the video playing?
The video is, and the video is not showing
Yeah,
when I put it on.
We can
Oh, it
see
does?
We can
Okay.
see it. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
great.
perfect.
Okay.
I just want to preface with apologize. We started the recording a minute later. Deborah had already, so Deborah Duncan from the senior and junior school in Cyprus is the school leader that's going to be sharing with us their story and their plans for next year right now. She had just started and we recorded just a few seconds later, so sorry, the video is going to be a little abrupt when it starts. Go ahead.
our staff who might have been a little bit reluctant, a little bit nervous about technology, were obliged to go online and start to teach. And even with our primary colleagues who are a lot further behind in their development of their new technologies, they were online within 2 or 3 weeks as well. So we've had all children from early years 1, which is age 2 and 3, all the way up to year 13, online every day. Now, for the younger ones, of course, due to the World Health Organization advice, we've only had them online for 2 half-an-hour slots. But for the older students, we had pretty much a normal timetable with some gaps in between. And we've seen the staff really developing the way they're using Teams to deliver lessons. So not only just as a lecture, which it started at the beginning, but having breakout groups in the chat rooms and having students working in 2s and 3s, having students delivering online, using the assignments much more often to set homework and give feedback, using Flipgrid to develop learning and to share feedback. Lots of different things, which I'll explain in a moment. So what we really want to achieve next year is to build on that lockdown experience, to build on the confidence that staff have got, using the technology, and build on the knowledge and skills of the students during lockdown. Even our younger students, like years 3 and 4, we were nervous about going forward with them. These are children of sort of the age 6, 7, and 8, and yet they've really embraced it, and they've been online learning and really got very confident in the use of the technology. So all our year 3s and 4s now have a Microsoft account, and we intend to continue that next year. Our plan for next year is based on the Microsoft Educational Transformation Framework. So we've written our plan based on these 4 areas: the leadership and policy, modern and teaching and learning, intelligent environments, and technology blueprint. This was inspired from the conference in Estonia in December, before the world went mad and we could all get together physically. So for the leadership and policy for next year, we really want to roll out our digital strategy based on this framework. And we're going to have one-to-one devices now for all students from years 4 to 8. This year, we had all the year 7s as a pilot year, having a laptop themselves and having all their textbooks and everything on their laptop. We had a few teething problems at the beginning of the year because of all the different formats the textbooks come in. Some in like the Kahoot, some were from publishers, so that was all a bit of a mess, and we've learned quite a lot from that. So we need to make sure that when we acquire textbooks electronically this year, it's a much more organised fashion and it's not done by department. All our year 3s, which are our little children aged 6, they're all 6 and 7, they're all going to have an Office 365 account from September. But again, with protections in, so they can't be emailing out into the world in general, so they can only use it within the organisation. We're going to hold a lot more Microsoft Live events. We've already trialled one, and we're going to have a big event at the end of next week to finish the year off, inviting all the school communities to come in and take part in the event. We think we can also use it for school assemblies next year, when we think that large gatherings will still not be possible. We're also going to use it for our graduation ceremony for the year 13s, because we've got limited numbers still who can gather. So in order for the grandparents and the aunties and uncles to take part in the graduation ceremony, we're going to Live, the Teams event. We're continuing to develop our technology policies. We learned a lot about child protection, data protection, health and safety, looking after students' mental health and online safety during the COVID-19, and we are developing our policies accordingly. Things like just having the cameras switched off, making sure that children are not online whilst in their bedroom, all sorts of issues to do with personal privacy and looking after our students. We're also planning to do some research on students' attainment. Now we've had 1 year of one-to-one devices in 1 year group. We're going to compare their attainment and well-being to previous years, although that research is going to be very badly impacted by the COVID-19 because we haven't had normal circumstances. That's our intention. And we also want to support other state schools with their technology journey. One of our colleagues, I think probably a lot of you know him, Nick Fetis, he has been supporting the Ministry of Education and the state schools in Cyprus with their aim to get as many teachers online, doing online learning, and he's done a lot of training for them. So we want to help the state schools in Cyprus, part of our outreach. In terms of modern teaching and learning, we're going to look at solutions for small class sizes if necessary, if there's a second peak of the COVID-19, and also just in general, we want to look at how we would be able to facilitate some children at home and some children in school, but whilst respecting data protection regulations. We want to make setting homework through assignments in teams systematic, because basically some teachers were using it this year, some teachers weren't. So what we want to do next year is make sure everybody's using that framework, because it's really good to share feedback and to have a record of student homework and feedback. We're going to be introducing Hacking STEM in the Key Stage 3 science curriculum. We did it as an after-school club last year, but we really want to incorporate that as part of our curriculum. So all of the great things that, for example, I learned when I went to Athens with the girls' boot camp, that we're using that in our lessons. We're also developed Minecraft to teach grammar in modern languages. One of our colleagues there, Anastasia Papanastasiou, she won the Tech Hill Challenge that was run by Microsoft, and she won a trip to Australia, which sadly was postponed because of the crisis. But she's developed Minecraft to engage children in learning of grammar in a foreign language, Spanish and German, which is, to try and stop them being bored. So that's fantastic. We also want to expand our use of technology to support children with learning difficulties. We liked very much the Lexplore that we saw in Estonia with the eye scanners to assess reading ages. We are widening our use of immersive reader and dictate, and we're finding it's really supportive of special needs children, and means that we're less reliant on lots of human interaction, and we can actually get the students to be a little bit more independent. And we've seen that during their time when they've been at home online, and they've been able to get support without a person sitting next to them. Also, in developing teaching and learning, we've used at the end of this year, success in our exams, we've used forms for a lot of our assessments, summative assessments at the end of those assessments at home, and the immediate feedback of the exam results, the fact that we could make sure that the questions were shuffled so that we could reduce cheating. So we found it really, really effective. The other thing we've used forms for a lot this year is to do surveys to parents and students while they were at home, find out what the thinking was, what was going on, and that's been fabulous. We're also launching a new digital media A-level in Year 12 in September, which is in keeping with our journey down the digital learning route, and it's all about using digital media and maybe developing those students for a career in that area. We want to obviously have more e-learning for our staff. Big gatherings for training, again, will be not able to happen for a while, so we want to make sure that our staff benefit from the Microsoft training that's available. We want ideally 25% of our staff to become MIE experts. Quite a few more at the end of this year have applied to be, so that will help us to roll out even more of that expertise. We want to develop, I think there's a new form of PowerPoint come out called PowerPoint Live, which we will be able to develop and use again for students at home or for digital and remote learning. And then the use of Flipgrid. We've used Flipgrid as well as for lessons, for lots of things. During lockdown, we had a reading project where the librarians and also staff were reading stories to the young children on Flipgrid. We had a music project where they did karaoke competitions on Flipgrid, art projects, and so it's a really fabulous form of communication. We even had all the staff saying goodbye to the children on a Flipgrid message. So in terms of intelligent environments and one-to-one devices for all students, years 4 to 8, that's going to be 480 students out of a total of 1,300. So that's a big step forward. We're going to hopefully have a specialist ICT teacher at the junior school, again, to develop the teaching and learning there, because with the best will in the world, primary school general class teachers are not experts in ICT, so we feel it would be good to have an expert and an additional ICT technician. And we have a digital learning room at the Introgates in there. Also, we've been using screen beams a lot in our classrooms, in all our new classrooms in a new block, and it's really freed up the teachers to circulate, to teach from the back of the room, the front of the room, share screens, share student screens, and staff who, even those who are very reluctant with technology, got very excited about. We want more screen beams in more classrooms. And finally, in terms of technology blueprints, we want to use more Microsoft products to enhance the communication and administration. So we feel we've made huge strides in teaching and learning, but maybe our administrative staff are a little bit further behind, and we're still relying on a lot of paperwork. So things like staff training. We've already started using forms to fix times for recruitment for new staff, for example, but more use of the Microsoft applications, communication, more use of Yammer and Teams and so on for the administration. Also, our student leaders, that's the head boy, head girl, head of the student council, arts captains, sports captains, have actually said that following the COVID lockdown, they're very confident to use Teams in Yammer to communicate with each other and to have better communication between the student body so they can share ideas with each other. Again, I've talked about using forms for surveys of parents and staff and students. We'll continue to develop that. And this idea about the digital textbooks is systematic across both sites and a proper coordination of the purchase of these services, because it was a real mess. At the beginning of last year, we trained all the year sevens to use their laplets in the induction at the beginning of the year. We had got them all an account, everything was up and ready to go, but the textbooks just weren't working or crashing, or they weren't downloading properly. So one of the ideas that the technical staff have this year is we're already going to buy the laplets set up already, and we're going to have access to these textbooks in a much more smooth fashion. So, and we also, in the beginning of the year, we're going to have a whole day of induction on how to use the laplets with the students who will be using them. Because often it's the technical side of things that let you down, because you're very excited about the teaching and learning, but then practically it doesn't work. We also are slightly worried because they've just dug up the whole road outside the junior school, and we're hoping that the new internet cable is in place by September, because otherwise all of these ideas are going to go out the window. So sometimes you're controlled by outside forces. So finally, I just want to say that as the junior and senior school is striving to develop its pedagogy and the engagement of its students through the use of new technologies. We've always been doing that. It came to fruition during the COVID-19 because, unlike other schools, not schools in this meeting, I'm sure, because you're all in the same mindset, but some schools internationally were not ready to go online and teach. I think that we did a great job from day one. After we locked down, we trained all the staff, and from day two we were teaching online. So we're going to continue that in that vein and not stop it just because we come back to school physically. So using the Microsoft Educational Transformation Framework and this experience that we gained in the COVID crisis, we intend to go from strength to strength next year. And they say that sometimes good things come out of bad. And I think out of this terrible crisis, our digital technology, understanding and expertise by both staff and students has really, really developed. So I think that's me, just under 20 minutes. So if anybody's got any questions.
Deborah, this is really amazing. And every slide that you said, oh my God, this is great. And then the next slide, it gets even better. I am glad that you managed to steer the ship during this hardship, and that school came out of it even stronger than when it was before.
Yeah, so, I mean, thank you for that. Don't get me wrong, we've had our criticisms as well from parents, which I'm sure a lot of schools are in the same situation, because, for example, some of the parents of our very youngest children were demanding more online teaching. And we were able to do that technically, but we didn't think it was correct for children of that age to be constantly on the screen. So we were developing a blended form of provision. So, for example, we'd have a section where the teachers were talking to them or presenting some new ideas and doing Q&A, but then saying go offline and do some activities away from the screen. So we were trying to develop that. But for some parents, it was about they're paying a fee and they expected 6 hours a day of provision. So that's been a little bit difficult.
I know, I hear you. I think it was really tougher on parents, in many ways they have their own jobs and they also are trying to juggle all of this. So their expectations weren't quite calibrated.
Yeah, and they realize. I mean, we've had don't get me wrong as well. We've had lots of praise from parents saying now we understand, what it's like to be a teacher, and we really admire all of the teaching profession because we've had to be at home with our own children and we have to quite a lot of them recognizing that's all very nice.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I'm one of them. I'm a parent of a 6 years old who also started saying, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And there's not enough online teaching. But then I knew why it was done and I understood, but on another level, I just wanted more. And then definitely a huge appreciation for the role of teachers in what they do every day. Any questions?
I'm just looking in the chat to see if there's anything anybody's else.
I'm seeing many comments. But I don't have a question actually, but I'm impressed how you were able to share that in the simple and smooth way. Awesome. Really great. All right, well, if you think of any other questions, Deborah, you're staying with us till the end of the meeting, right?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Deborah. So if there are any questions that come up, everybody please post them in the chat. Deborah's going to be on the lookout. Just tag her.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maria?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you here? All right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Dina, and hello, everybody. Let me just share my screen so that you can see my presentation. Okay, give me a second. Okay, my name is Maria Papadopoulou, and I am the Director of New Technologies at Mandolidis Schools, a K-12 private school in Greece. The unusual conditions we experienced in the school year 2019-2020 due to the pandemic triggered the widespread use of new technologies in education and highlighted their necessity in our lives. Mandolidis schools responded successfully to the new requirements from the very first moment, proved their readiness and experience, and justified the title Microsoft Showcase School. That schools are one of the 3 schools in Greece that have been selected as Microsoft Showcase School for 4 consecutive years. Microsoft has singled out 169 teachers in Greece as MIE experts, 71 of whom are Mandolidis schools primary and secondary school teachers. Distance learning, of course, started out as a challenge at Mandolidis schools. Then it became an opportunity that we all took immediately in order to teach, be taught, collaborate, and adapt, always guided by our students' needs. The transition to digital classrooms has been developed in 4 different phases so that students and teachers would gradually familiarize themselves with the new learning environment and realize the specifics and requirements of distance learning. From the first day of the suspension of the operation of schools, we implemented at first an asynchronous education program, focusing on the main subjects at the beginning and then expanding it to almost all subjects of the curriculum. Asynchronous education was not limited to posting educational material on the digital platform My Mandolidis, but depending on the age of the students and the usability, we used Teams for assignments in order to maintain the discipline and consistency that characterize our school. Microsoft Teams provided feedback, self-correction, information to parents on their children's progress. Our goal in this phase was the daily involvement of students with lessons and to keep them in touch with the school and the teachers. Very soon, we proceeded to online lessons in real time at all levels via Teams, giving priority to the students of 12th grade, of course, and then to the main subjects of each level. The class duration was 40 to 45 minutes each. Digital classrooms were very quickly created, students reunited with their teachers and classmates, and normality came back into everyone's lives. The school expanded the program of synchronous education to students of all levels, even the little ones, the pre-K. More hours were added and the program was enriched. Students and teachers quickly managed to find common ground and kept communicating and creating on a daily basis in real time in digital classrooms, but also at different times in assignments of synchronous education, video lessons, projects, stream activities, simulations of experiments and exams, and virtual tours. A further expansion of distance learning with a greater emphasis on foreign language, English, French, German, Greek language and literature, preparation for university exams, and introduction of student hour program for students to discuss questions with their teachers. In summary, in phase 4, we have 1,230 teaching hours per week, 176 digital classrooms, and 149 teachers teaching. The table shows in details those numbers. During all this time, we have been utilizing technology as an indispensable tool to transform the learning process into an interactive and creative experience for every student. As you can see, we used a variety of tools, all the tools of Office 365, because all of our students have Office 365. To further support communication, collaboration, and connection between teachers and students students with their peers. During lockdown, we may have lost our physical contact with our students and their parents, with alumni and colleagues, but school life within our school's community went on uninterrupted. During all this time of the unprecedented health crisis, and while all schools were closed, both teachers and administrative staff were able to continue online courses for the examinations of international universities through the Studies Abroad program, organized webinars for the students and the parents of the 12th grade in view of the Panhellenic exams, scheduled online meetings for parents of all levels in order to support them during the pandemic, participate in friendly online debate games, invite writers in our digital classrooms, and take virtual field trips opening a window to the world for our students, participate in computer science online conferences. Current and past members of the school's orchestra and choir collaborated online with famous Greek singer and songwriter Dionys Savvopoulos to produce a video. When the lockdown was lifted, students and teachers returned to schools, and since then, we have all been trying to adapt to the new normality. We have classes for 5 days per week in order to cover the syllabus, and so that students at school can keep up with the school routine, and students staying at home for health reasons can attend properly, we apply simultaneous synchronous education. Each class is divided into 3 subclasses. First subclass, students come to school on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and do synchronous education on Tuesday and Thursday from home. Second subclass, students come to school on Tuesday and Thursday and do synchronous education on Monday and Wednesday and Friday from home. And the third subclass, students do not come to school and do synchronous education all 5 days from home. The next day will depend on the course of the disease and the decisions of the state. The experience we have gained is invaluable, and this will guide us in our future decisions. We are always ready to offer the best to our students. Whether it will be necessary to implement the first scenario of exclusive distance learning, as has already been described, or the second hybrid model scenario where distance learning is combined with the student's physical presence, which is being used at present, we are ready for anything and may be necessary for the next school year. Thank you. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Yeah, hello. If you don't mind,
Hi.
I would like to make a question.
Yes, of course. I'm here.
Well, everything you said, everything you mentioned is very interesting. But what are your plans when this lockdown is over? Are you how would you like to include all these new technologies and all the stuff you told us about in the let's call it the new normality? Thank you.
As I said, that we are going to. It is going to depend on the decisions of the state. In Greece, the state decides what model it will be used. We are using Office 365 already. So it's a normality already in our school to use technology every day at the physical presence. Every student, we use Teams in classroom. We have been using it before the lockdown, and we will continue to use it. We post assignments, we use the chat to cooperate with the students and the students with each other. We use forms and all the other tools that you have seen in my presentation. It was a reality for us. The technology was already embedded in our school lives. So the transition was very smooth for our kids because they already knew how to use technology. So the scenarios are three. The new normality will be the physical presence, but some children might need to choose to participate only remote. We will give them the opportunity to do so. It's the hybrid model that I spoke about.
Okay, thank you very much, Maria. I'm very happy to hear what you said, because I consider that we are actually doing the same thing. Well, let's say it's so thank you. It's very interesting experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria, for sharing. I also have a question for you. In this hybrid model, how do, my name is Jennifer, hello from Argentina. In this hybrid model, how do teachers react? Because in our school, we have already embedded technology for several years, but we are concerned about how can teachers tackle the face-to-face situation together with the virtual situation at the same time?
I know that it is difficult, but this is a reality that we are now living in our school. I'm a teacher and I teach this way. I tell you that it is not impossible, and it is very nice to have some kids at home and some kids of the class in the classroom. They participate all in this hybrid model. Online is not meant to be a diminished experience, but an alternative. And the kids from home have fully interactive engagement. It may be difficult, but it is not impossible.
Maria, it's Deborah here. I agree with you that technically it's doable. And we were looking into this because now, like you, we've got 12 children in and 12 children at home. And the problem is that all the teachers are in school teaching. So unless you do the hybrid model, you can't have some learning online. But the issue in Cyprus has been that there's been some question from the Children's Commissioner about the safety of children and also data protection and the rights of teachers if they're being, transmitted into people's living rooms.
I know. In Greece, the ministry suggested this model, and we took up on it. It's a decision that the government made. So it issued a note for the parents to sign, and every parent knows and agrees.
Okay, I mean, I think it's great, and I think you're right that it also tackle things like children who are sick, a child who's broken their leg and can't come to school, things like that. My only worry is we're exposing our teachers because they're under the scrutiny of the parents at home. That's my only.
I know. Up to now, we only hear good things from the parents.
And do you record these classes?
No, we don't. And we don't let the students do it. We have to close that.
And do teachers, is there only one teacher in the class, or do you have two teachers in the class helping out with virtual and the hybrid model?
No, there is one teacher to coordinate, and the kids participate both. The teacher asks both kids from home and kids in class. We have good microphones so that they can communicate and they hear each other, and it is nice. It is nice to have them all together in the classroom, some from home and some with physical presence.
And did you train the teachers before they started with a hybrid model?
Excuse me, I couldn't hear you. Do the teachers?
Did you train the teachers with a hybrid model?
No, because before we go to the hybrid model, everybody was teaching from their homes during the lockdown. They were already trained.
Okay, thank you very much, Maria. Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Maria, I heard that I heard from schools that are thinking about this that they might need to buy some equipment so that kids online are able to see the classroom the same way the classroom is seeing them.
Yeah, we are looking into that. From now, we just have one computer, one laptop, and a microphone and speakers. But we're looking into the idea that to have cameras at the corners of the classroom, so that they can see each other. And
there are data protection issues with that in terms of GDPR, though. So
yeah, they have to sign everybody has to sign yeah.
Interesting. How all of these things that, and I'm sure the teachers would have to remind themselves constantly that, oh, there are kids online, right? Because
all this time of the lockdown, we were in our kids' homes and they were in our homes. We have developed a new way of communication, and with the parents, and our students, because in classes like first grade or kindergarten, the parents at first were near their children. They were sitting next to them, but now the kids are very, very fluent with technology, and they do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. Right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm hearing them. Are there?
All right. And I'm looking in the chat. Not really seeing other questions than the ones that were said live here. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Maria. Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm also really glad.
I have a video, if we have some time. It's a video that I told you about, the song that our choir and orchestra made. If you have time and you want to hear it.
How many minutes is the video?
Well, it's 3. No, what time is it? Yeah, like
3 minutes?
Yeah.
If it's 3 minutes, we can watch it, yeah.
I have a question for Maria.
Yes, sure.
Yes, how do you supervise the virtual classes?
Well, that's an issue. What do you mean supervise? We have our kids in front of their computer, and it's the same supervision that we used to have during lockdown and the fully remote program. You can't be in their homes. You can't check if they are writing the time that you say, right? But you can ask them questions, get them engaged, give them some feedback, some forms to fill, so that the lesson is interesting and they are intrigued.
No, I mean the class itself, the teacher. How do you supervise the teacher? How they?
The teacher, the teacher teaches both in front of the laptop and by taking a walk through the class.
Okay.
The other thing you can do as well, I don't know if you mean also supervising teachers, because
Teachers.
yeah, what we've done, we've
Yeah,
continued
we
to
have
do our learning
we have
walks. Yeah, learning walks
we have-
digitally.
Yeah.
So we go visit. If we ask the teachers to share us in their teams,
Yeah.
and we go and visit the class while they're teaching and give them some feedback.
If you mean that, yeah, we have done that too. We have the supervisor in the teams of the class, in the class.
Exactly.
The other thing is if you've got if you're lucky enough to have teaching assistants, which in our younger classes we do, we have the
Yeah.
teaching assistants watching the chat and answering any of the children's questions and keeping an eye on whether they were muted and whether the camera was off and technical things, while the teacher could concentrate on actually.
Yeah, that is possible in kindergarten only. In the Greek system, you can't have assistant teacher in the classroom.
Okay.
Okay, then.
All right.
Yeah.
Maria, if you want to show this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The time has passed already. Okay.
No, it's all right. We can watch it.
Okay. Okay, give me 1 moment. Okay. Thank you there.
Aynı kişi yapmak da böyle yapıyor.
Okay.
Maria, this was very
Yeah.
interesting and very
Yeah.
cute. The ideas that they had.
Yeah, we just are so proud of our students, and I wanted to share.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having.
Thanks so much, Maria. If Deborah and Maria, if you don't mind, I'll be posting your presentations for Showcase Schools for those who couldn't attend. They
Yes, of
can
course.
then access them later.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. Thank you. I just want to conclude with a few things that I wanted to share with you. It's not going to be as inspiring and touching as everything we've heard so far from Deborah and Maria, but I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I'm hearing about the transition from remote learning to something else, some hybrid model. And I hope you can see my slide. I've compiled a list of all the different scenarios that I heard so far. And they're all really far from traditional. Even the first option, which is back to normal, those that are considering going back to fully in person, they say it's not going to be the same normal. It's not going to be exactly the same way they used to do things. They're thinking about curriculum, they're thinking about assessment, they're thinking about lesson plans, they're thinking about how to engage students more using some of the tools that they know work and some of the feedback that they heard from students, and thinking about using more formative assessment. There are thoughts about maybe a later start, pushing the start date a little bit later, or maybe even moving the whole fall semester to spring and kind of shifting the whole academic year. Some other thoughts are creating an on-site rotating schedule. So not all students are on-site at the same time, but certain grades or certain groups of students are on-site at a certain time, and then others come in at a different time. There is another variation on this, which is certain grades are on site all the time, and other grades, perhaps the ones that are able to independently manage remote learning well, and we believe that they are lower risk than they do online learning, and then we keep the others that we think are high risk or we want to be in person with them on site. Other scenarios I've seen is the block schedule and personalization, kind of shifting a little bit from the concept of the kids moving from one classroom to another to creating bigger blocks in the day and allowing students to move at their own pace. So we're giving them the curriculum ahead of time. They know everything that's expected of them, and there's a lot of independent work that they can do on their own. And then regular check-ins with their teachers, but they're able to move through this at their own pace. So the need to come together as a whole class to teach or to lecture is not needed anymore. There is learning online and extracurricular on site. So this is interesting. It's kind of maintaining what we're doing today, but then thinking about how do we enrich that experience with more social interaction and having all of these other clubs and extracurricular things still happen on site in some form that include social distancing, so that students are not isolated the way they are in fully remote environments. Another thought is to continue with online learning, but then leverage the on-site experience, not necessarily to do a whole classroom the way we're familiar with, but to think about the time students get together with teachers on site as time for a flexible dynamic model where some students are working on a project together, other students are checking in with the teacher, or the teacher is explaining some concepts for some of those students that they probably missed. It's a little bit of a tutoring flexible project based of more rich pedagogical experiences on site when they come together. Or there's another scenario, which is I think the one that Maria was talking about, the same class, part of the student is online and another portion of them is on site. And then the teacher is kind of making sure that they're balancing equally the engagement and the participation of students on site and online. Then there is the concept of an online lecture where most of the kind of the didactic and sharing direct instruction, sharing this directly with the student, explaining new topics and introducing new activities is all done online. But then what's happening on site is just small groups tutoring and support. So there is kind of a balance between what happens online and what happens on site. And the online part does not necessarily have to be live because we just recorded students go through it at their own pace. And then, of course, you know, some schools have really mastered remote learning, and perhaps the risk is too high to come together in person, that continuing with remote learning and perfecting it and making it even better and improving it is probably a better alternative when it comes to student safety. So these are just 10 kind of the different scenarios that, I've heard about, both in K-12 and higher ed, all schools and countries are really looking into this. So I thought I'd share with you some of these scenarios. Perhaps they could spark some ideas. The Christensen Institute that wrote Disrupting the Classroom several years ago have been focused on blended learning for years. And they've been studying a lot of schools in their blended learning model. And one of the blended learning models that that it really is the closest to what we're thinking about for the next academic year is the blended learning flex model. And I have links here that will take you to the site so you can see what they're talking about. And there are a couple of schools that have been doing this. It's just the normal operation. I think there is so much that we can learn from those schools that have been operating like this as their normal way for years and have come to embrace it and fully tweak it so that it works. So I shared here a couple of different schools that have been doing some sort of this flex learning that lends itself really easily to either be an on-site or remote. So you could just kind of check them out later. I'm not going to really go into a lot of details here. I also compiled a few different resources for you around remote and hybrid learning from Microsoft. There is a lot out there. Microsoft really just kind of went all out with the remote learning resources, from courses to papers to research and resources around well-being, family, student, teaching, learning, how to use all the variety of different tools and how to make sure that you're using them in an inclusive manner so all students benefit. On the very top here is a new paper that we did in collaboration with Michael Fullen, one of the top thought leaders on education in leadership in education. So he collaborated with us on creating this from remote to hybrid learning paper. So I really invite you to explore it. These are also some of the courses that are available today. So something perhaps to share with your communities, with your educators, if they do want to continue to develop and kind of seek some ideas. I know also MIEs around the world have been doing a lot of tips and tricks webinars. So these are also a really good set of resources to leverage and to have educators tune into for an idea here and there that could really make a difference and an impact. So I also wanted to take this opportunity of being with you to just kind of remind you of a few things. We've gone through some changes with the Showcase School program. So I want to highlight that we have this site on our Showcase School team for easy access to a lot of different resources. If you go to monthly calls, you'll see the presentations, the call recordings, and that missed or you want to revisit later. You'll see information about all of our offers on the board on team. Also, all the current offers available today, and there are a bunch. So I really invite you to go look at them. Host a training or any promotional assets that you might be looking for, you'll find them here as well. I'm also including some information, articles or videos about Showcase Schools so that we get to know each other a little bit. And thanks to all of you that actually chimed in and introduced yourself on Teams. If you haven't, please do so. It's great to know who's who and to put a little description on a name so that we get to know each other better. Also, don't focus on 15. We have a new match next year and a new slide, and we're really excited about it. I just wanted to share with you that we do have a few new partners in our program as well. So School Day with their social emotional learning solution. We're also working with the Innovative Learning Environment and Teacher Change. They are doing research on space and in furniture and how to set up a learning environment and how this impacts students in the teaching and the learning process. And they have research around this, and they also have PD for teachers so that they can benefit from all of these purpose-driven environments that could be designed at a school. I know we're not talking too much about physical space right now, but I know it's going to happen soon. So it's something that I'm really excited about. We also have a global training partner, so let's not forget that they are available and ready in case you need any professional development, virtual or online. Studaport has been really great in collaborating with us on certifications and making sure that there is the ability to do exams from home, and but also created an exception for Showcase schools for the Microsoft Certified Educator Certificate and the ability to use our vouchers towards it. OECD is a recent partner that joined us. They are creating a network of schools that are exemplary and innovative in order to participate in policy design conversations with policymakers around the world and help demonstrate what is possible to those policymakers so that they consider that in their plans. So we're really excited that they approached us and they wanted to pick from the Showcase School network of schools, some schools to participate in that hub. So I will be approaching some of you soon, as soon as I hear from them about what criteria they're looking for. And if you happen to be anywhere near a store, just know that Microsoft stores have been offering a lot of different tools and resources and workshops virtually, but also when they open again, they can assist Showcase schools. They are very familiar with the program. They're trained on everything they need to know about the program, and they have taken on supporting Showcase schools with anything that they need. So that's another addition to our list of partners. So I just wanted to share that with you. I also wanted to let you know that I'm looking at creating a badge for all of you, so that there isn't just a Showcase School badge, but there is also an individual badge that recognizes the amazing effort and the amazing vision and leadership that you're demonstrating every day in your Showcase schools. And I think this should be a badge that you could carry with you even if you leave your Showcase school. It's a testimonial to your accomplishment and to your ability to really lead your school and collaborate with every constituent in your school to make this amazing accomplishment happen. So I have a few ideas here, and I wanted to get your opinion on them. So if you can post them in the chat, actually send me a note or post it. I can post it on Teams as well in notes. But we're trying to get this finalized before the end of the month. So if you can let me know your thoughts, that would be really great. And that's it. This is all I had today. Thank you. I'm going to leave this up. Take a look at it. Any last comment for speakers today? Okay.
Hi, Dina. Hello, everyone. I'm Francisco from Qatar.
Hi, Francisco.
Hi, how are you? One quick question. Something that came to my mind. I think this could be shared with a lot of people will think similar to me. We have Microsoft Education Center for teachers, but I think it will be lovely or amazing to have Microsoft Education Center for our students. So is Microsoft planning to do something like that? Now the summer is coming up. It would be great to have this kind of podcasts and all this stuff for the kids, and it will be great for kids. It will be lovely to have something like that to share with them so they have their own independence learning going on too.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great idea, and I know that there've been some talks internally about this. And on Microsoft Learn, there are some resources for students. I think that they are for older students. I want to say about 16 and up. And definitely, they're all kind of technology resources and courses that students could learn. Also, I know that they're going to be continuing to shape this, so kind of stay tuned for this. MSIE has some curriculum for students, the Microsoft Academy. They have some courses for students. I think the curriculum is mostly geared towards the MOS and the MTA and the other certifications in technology, but they could still be taken for learning purposes, not necessarily to get the certificate. I know it's not as comprehensive as what you see on the Microsoft Educator Center, that we are working on it. There's also another thing that I kind of encourage you to take advantage of, the Digital Media Academy. These are lots of resources that could be used either self-paced or as a tech camp in the summer. And the Digital Media Academy, as a partner, has created a very generous offer for Showcase schools to leverage this, I believe, for the whole academic year, together with PD for teachers if they want to integrate it in their classroom. I think one of their offers is also making the self-paced courses available to students to use for a year. So this could be something that you could take advantage of and offer to your students. And their courses are all STEM-related courses, so there's a lot of stuff around machine learning, AI, and computer science, etc. It's really well done. It was supported by Stanford Research and started in Stanford, so I really invite you to take advantage of this. And you'll find the offer here. All right, so we are at time. I really appreciate each and every one of you and everything that you do today for students, for teachers, for parents, for the world. I hope you acknowledge yourselves. I hope you take a moment to reflect on your accomplishments in the field as gratification that you've steered the ship here so far, and that you will continue to do so moving forward. And we're here to support it in every way that we can. So do not hesitate to reach out, share a question or you're pondering. Share with us what you've been going through. Any great news too and great stories, just let us know. We're part of the Faithful family, and we want to know what we're all are up to. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic month until I see you again next month. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Say bye. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear friends. Thank you. Thank you so much.